r/AskReddit by Redmond Dts. What is the most ridiculous reason you had sex with someone? She said, your darn game is probably trash. I then said, come find out, and immediately proceeded to prove that my darn game was in fact trash. I nutted in seconds. An ex-girlfriend texted and asked if we could still be friends. Told her it wasn't a good idea, and she asked if we could just screw, and asked if we could meet up for a drink. I told her okay, but if we see anyone we know, she can't say she is my girlfriend. Met for a drink in a totally different town to where we lived, but met a lad I knew anyway, who I hadn't seen in years. We were talking, and he asked if this was my girlfriend, and she said, no, I'm just his screw whore. I felt obligated. It was during a 4th of July party in my early 20s. Most people were already passed out, but 6 of us were still hanging at a pool, 3 guys and 3 girls. 2 groups started making out and getting ready to screw. The other girl and I looked at each other and shrugged our shoulders and figured we may as well do it too. Once I slept with a girl because she told me she'd never had a white boy, and I said, so I'm just checking off some box for you, sarcastically, and she said, don't lie, you need to check off this box too, this is a win-win. I laughed, and then we had sex later that night. She turned to me after and said, I was lying, I only screw white boys. Also I'm 36. I was 22, and she had told me she was 24, and she looked 24. I should have known, because she had her own house. She found out I was deaf. She was deaf. No idea how that sounded. Like a group of seals being clubbed to death with squeaky mallets. She heard I was good at it. She was disappointed. After I quit my job, I screwed my ex-manager all summer because company rules no longer applied. It was raining, and I didn't want to sleep in my van, so I put some work in for a nice Dutch lady. In my much younger years, I had a friend with benefits who called me one day and said she had a friend she hadn't seen in years come in from out of town. She asked if I would be down for a 3-way. Of course, being young and horny, I said yes, without ever meeting the other girl. They come over, and it all goes down. It went great, and the second girl was very enthusiastic. Afterward, while everyone is cleaning up and getting dressed, I find out, hadn't seen in years come in from out of town, actually meant, just got home from prison. I bought the last order of chicken strips at the bar. She asked for one and I said, blow me. Jokingly, I gave her chicken strips anyway. When leaving the bar, she said she owed me something. 8 out of 10 would trade chicken strips again. I was really hungry, and she was a bigger girl. I figured that she had food at her place. I was right. Did her roommate too? I watched a guy land a girl way above his range by doing the fake stairs behind a couch routine. Said he did it like 50 times to keep her laughing, but his legs were burned out when they actually got in bed. Most ridiculous reason ever. The Austin Powers movie. He did in fact make her horny baby. Her husband gave me a traffic ticket 2 years prior. Hot racist woman showed up for racist symbols on her tits. We told her no. She showed up later drunk. I removed her from the property. Later on my way to my car, she I guess ambushed me, pushing onto me smelling like liquor, and told me she wanted to see what a dirty Mexican can do to a woman of the supreme race. I'm mixed Japanese and Cuban. Actual words she said, but slurring she grabbed my junk, forced a kiss on me, and I don't know what happened. Hour later she's back at my place, hate screwing, and nutted in her, and when I woke up the next day, she was gone, but not before she ate some food, and left it on my counter. I could in all likelihood have a illegitimate child out there, born out of a random hate screw. Never saw her again. All she left was the food on my counter, and her panties and socks on my floor. She was only wearing a t-shirt when she came to the door for a date. I don't think you was you that decided to first. I went on a trip out of state with my buddy. His cousin let us stay with her, and she was recently single. She was really cool, and she was 8 years older than me. I was 33, and she was 41. She drove us around everywhere, bought us weed and booze, and was generally really cool to hang out with, and she was flirting with me hardcore, but wasn't sure how to handle it, since she was my friend's cousin. She was cute, but I just wasn't feeling it at first. I offered to fix something in her house and hurt my shoulder a bit when doing it. That night, she noticed that it was hurting, and said, "Oh, your shoulder hurts. I can give you a massage." I was like, "Okay." She started giving me a massage, and said I needed to take my shirt off for her to get into my shoulder blade, which made sense. Then she gave me one of the best massages I have ever had. I was blown away. I then noticed that little man downstairs was coming to attention. She then started massaging away from my shoulder and more towards my butt, and I was like, "Well, since my shirt is off, maybe yours should be too." She smiled, and then we started making out and went upstairs to her bedroom, where I had sex with her. We went to sleep, and then she woke up in the middle of the night and climbed on top of me and wanted to go another round. I finally told my buddy, and he started laughing and said, "Well, I guess you paid for room and board then." She needed to get laid. It had been a while. She thought I had a cool lunchbox. We've been married for 7 years now. Being wingman for my bro. A woman was considering applying to law school, so she attended a random court hearing where I was arguing. I was familiar with the judge, and when I got to the podium, he made a joke, genuinely not meaning anything by it. Now everybody watch how a real lawyer does it. The point of the joke was that I had been waiting all morning for my hearing on a civil matter, while dozens of criminal docket matters were being heard. It was a joke about civil versus criminal lawyers, and it was half facetious. Anyway, this random woman in the gallery was impressed, not really understanding the joke. After the hearing, she asked me out to lunch, ostensibly to ask me about how to get into law school, what lawyer life is like, etc. I was getting lunch anyway, so, sure. We had a very boring informational interview of a lunch. She was super cute, but no sparks at all. I've had dozens of informational career counseling interviews like that, and this one was just like any other. I was very blunt, honest, and plain spoken, as I usually am. When lunch was done, she looked me right in the eye and said, out of nowhere, "Wanna get a room?" I have no idea what the F I was thinking. But for some insane reason, I fired right back, straight-faced, "Can I go down on you?" She said, "Sure." We got a room that afternoon. Heard she made pancakes in the morning that were amazing. She told me her grandpa died and was crying. Lol. I felt bad for her, and out of nowhere she busted a move on me, so I smashed. I met a girl at a bar, got her number, went home, ordered a pizza, and was laying in bed. She texts me, "Hey, super random, but there was a shooting outside my apartment, and I'm unable to get inside, and all my friends are asleep. Can I come over?" Fun time, but she ghosted me. Used to work with a co-worker on many trips. We would fly together, stay in the same hotel, separate rooms, rental, etc. She was in a relationship for the first year, then became single. After 6 months of singles, we were having dinner and drinks, and conversation became more sexual, and she says she hasn't had sex for like a year, even when she was with her ex. She was very attractive, and I couldn't believe that she was 6 months single and not one pursuer, and I said, "I can break that streak for you if you like," somewhat jokingly. She laughed, we talked more, and we did the deed that night. Then in the morning. Then it was on every work trip. It was a lot of fun. When we traveled back home we acted as we were just co-workers. But on the work trip I couldn't wait for the day to end, so we could do our deed. It lasted a couple years, and she got a new man, and we stopped. Made work trips so enjoyable when we had the unspoken pact. I once slept with a colleague because I really wanted to see what her tits looked like. I didn't really have much interest in her, but her tits just became a point of fascination for me over the years, lol. We ended up being semi-casual F-buddies for a while, so it wasn't like I did it once, got to behold her amazing tits, and then left her hanging or anything like that. He cosplayed as Kylo Ren. Worst sex I've ever had. Ex cheated on me, so I screwed his friends. Also one time my friend was really horny. I wasn't super interested, but I wasn't opposed either, so I just did it lol. Helping the homie out. We were both in high school, I could drive, her ride stood her up, I offered her a ride home. I was single. She was single. So we decided to drive on top of the highest mountain we could find, and then screwed, laughing the whole way about how crazy this was. And then she professed her love for me through tears. And then I felt like a monster, because I didn't know she actually had feelings for me, and thought she just wanted to screw. But I didn't have any feelings for her. And then I swore I'd never do a hookup again. Wow, totally forgot about that memory until now, thanks for that. I wanted to be able to say I screwed the valedictorian. I walked into a party, and my housemate shouted, "Who wants to sleep with him?" A chick grabbed my arm and we went to my room. Got a text offering pizza and sex. I didn't have anything in for dinner. That's all folks. Thank you for watching. If you like videos like this one, why not like and subscribe for more. Have a nice evening.